What if I told you that some of the most resilient fruit trees on Earth don't just survive winter, they depend on it? That while most modern orchards collapse under frost, there are trees quietly waiting that have endured blizzards, ice storms, and sub-zero nights for centuries, producing food when nothing else could. Most people don't realize this, because somewhere along the way, these trees were pushed aside, replaced by fragile, high-maintenance varieties that demand perfect conditions, perfect soil, and perfect timing. But these are different. These are patient trees, relentless trees, forgotten trees. And by the time we reach number 8 and 9, you'll begin to understand just how much knowledge was quietly left behind, because those two were once considered essential for survival. Let's begin. The first is a tree that looks delicate, but is anything but. The Siberian crabapple, Malus baccata. At first glance, it doesn't impress. Small fruits, modest appearance, easy to overlook. But this tree comes from the unforgiving landscapes of Siberia, where winter doesn't ask for permission. Temperatures plunge far below freezing, and yet this tree stands year after year, producing clusters of bright, resilient fruit. Historically, it wasn't planted for beauty. It was planted because it worked. Early settlers and cold region farmers relied on it not just for fruit, but as a rootstock, because it could anchor entire orchards in frozen ground. So why did it disappear? Because its fruit wasn't perfect. Not large, not sweet enough for modern supermarkets. But today, as climates shift and growing seasons become unpredictable, its value is returning. It thrives in poor soil, it tolerates extreme cold, and once established, it asks for very little. Plant it in full sun, give it space to breathe, and it will reward you quietly, for decades. It survived, quietly, for centuries. The second tree is almost mythical in its endurance. The sea buckthorn, Hippophae rhamnoides. A thorny, rugged shrub that clings to life where most plants surrender. It grows along wind-swept coasts, frozen plains, and barren soils where nutrients are scarce. And yet, it produces one of the most nutrient-dense fruits known. Bright orange berries packed with vitamins, oils, and antioxidants. Ancient cultures valued it deeply. It was used to restore vitality, to heal, to endure harsh seasons. But it's not easy to harvest. The thorns make sure of that. And so, modern agriculture moved on. Convenience replaced resilience. But in a world where soil degradation and water scarcity are becoming real concerns, sea buckthorn offers something rare. It fixes nitrogen, improves soil, and thrives where others fail. Plant both male and female plants for fruit. Give it sunlight, and let it do what it has always done. Persist. The third tree feels almost mythical in its endurance. The American persimmon, Diospyros virginiana. A fruit so sweet it tastes like honey when fully ripe, yet the tree itself is built for hardship. Native to North America, it has endured freezing winters and scorching summers alike. Indigenous communities relied on it not just as food, but as a seasonal anchor, a signal of changing time. But here's the catch. Eat it too early, and it punishes you. Bitter, astringent, unforgiving. And so people stopped planting it. Supermarkets didn't have the patience for it. But those who understand it value it deeply. Because once it ripens, truly ripens, it becomes something extraordinary. It grows in a range of soils, tolerates drought, survives cold, and produces abundantly with minimal care. A tree that teaches patience and rewards it. Now, the fourth. A tree once called the bread of the North. The European rowan, Sorbus aucuparia. Its bright red berries glow against snow-covered landscapes, almost like signals in the wilderness. In ancient Europe, it wasn't just a tree, it was protection, planted near homes, believed to guard against misfortune. But more practically, it provided food when winters stretched long and supplies ran thin. The berries are bitter when raw, but processed, dried, cooked, fermented, they become valuable. So why did it fade? Because it required knowledge, preparation, time, things the modern systems slowly erased. Yet today, it stands as one of the most cold-hardy fruiting trees available, thriving in poor soils, high elevations, and freezing climates. Plant it once, and it becomes part of the land. The fifth tree carries a quiet legacy across continents. The Cornelian cherry, Cornus mass. Not actually a cherry, but something older, something more enduring. It has been cultivated for over 7,000 years. Ancient Greeks and Romans knew it, valued it, relied on it. Its small ruby-red fruits are tart, rich, and incredibly resilient. But it grows slowly, and that was its downfall. Modern agriculture prefers speed, fast yields, predictable cycles. Cornelian cherry does not rush. It establishes itself patiently, builds strength underground, and then, years later, begins to produce, consistently, reliably. It tolerates cold, drought, neglect. Give it well-drained soil and sunlight, and then give it time. Because some trees are not meant for quick returns. They are meant for generations. The sixth is a tree that doesn't just survive the cold, it thrives in it. The hardy kiwi, Actinidia arguta. Most people associate kiwi with tropical climates, warmth, soft breezes, but this variety flips that assumption entirely. It can withstand temperatures as low as -25 degrees F, producing smooth, grape-sized fruits that require no peeling. It was once more widely known, but commercial farming favored the larger, more uniform varieties. Again, convenience replaced resilience. But for a homeowner, a grower, someone thinking long-term, this vine offers something powerful. Fast growth, heavy yields, cold resistance. Plant male and female vines for fruit. Give it trellis and watch it take over, quietly transforming space into abundance. Now we move deeper, because the seventh tree begins to hint at something bigger. The Russian pomegranate, Punica granatum, Russian varieties. Yes, a pomegranate that tolerates cold. Not just mild frost, but real winter conditions. These varieties were developed and preserved in regions where survival demanded adaptation, where crops either evolved or disappeared. They produce smaller fruits, but with intense flavor and nutritional value. So why don't we see them everywhere? Because they don't fit the commercial mold. But in a changing climate, where temperature swings are becoming more extreme, their resilience becomes invaluable. Plant in a sunny, sheltered location, protect young plants in early years, and once established, they endure. Quietly, relentlessly. The eighth tree is one that many have heard of, but few truly understand. The mulberry, Morus alba and Morus rubra. It grows fast, produces heavily, and survives conditions that would stress most fruit trees. Historically, it was essential, not just for fruit, but for silk production. Entire economies were built around it. But its fruit is delicate, doesn't store well, doesn't ship well, so it was pushed aside. Yet in a home landscape, those weaknesses disappear. What remains is a tree that feeds abundantly, attracts wildlife, and thrives with minimal intervention. It asks for little and gives a lot. Now, number 9, a tree that feels almost prehistoric in its resilience.
The medlar, Mespelis germanica, an ancient fruit tree, once common across Europe. Its fruit is strange, almost unappealing at first, hard, astringent, but after frost or time, it softens, transforms, becomes rich, sweet, almost like spiced applesauce. It requires patience, understanding, and that's why it faded. But it thrives in cold climates, poor soils, neglect. It doesn't demand attention, it simply waits. And now, we approach number 10. This is where things change, because this tree wasn't just food, it was survival. The Manchurian apricot, Prunus manchurica, a tree that withstands brutal winters and still produces golden fruit. In regions where temperatures drop far below freezing, this tree blooms early, fruits reliably, and endures conditions that would kill standard apricots. It was once essential in northern climates, a dependable source of nutrition when options were limited. But modern varieties replaced it, more attractive, more uniform, less resilient. Today, that trade-off is becoming harder to ignore, because this tree doesn't just produce, it endures. Plant it in well-drained soil, give it sun, protect early blooms from late frost if possible, and it will do what it has always done, provide. Now, number 11, perhaps the most underestimated tree on this entire list. The Shipova, a hybrid of Pyrus and Sorbus, a cross between pear and rowan. It combines sweetness with resilience, flavor with endurance, but it's rare, slow to propagate, difficult to find, and so it remained in the shadows. Yet those who grow it know something others don't. It thrives in cold climates, produces unique, flavorful fruit, and requires very little once established. It represents something deeper. What happens when knowledge is preserved instead of replaced? Now, as we move toward the final trees, a pattern begins to emerge. These are not just plants, they are systems of survival. The 12th is the Aronia, Aronia melanocarpa, also known as chokeberry. Cold hardy, disease-resistant, nutrient-dense. Its berries are powerful, used for juices, preserves, and medicinal purposes. It thrives in wet soils, poor soils, cold climates. And yet, it's barely discussed, because it doesn't fit the commercial narrative. But for those paying attention, it's a quiet powerhouse. And finally, number 13, a tree that ties everything together. The honeyberry, Lawsonia caerulea, also called hoscup. It fruits early, extremely early, often before strawberries, and it thrives in cold climates where other fruits struggle to even survive. Its berries resemble elongated blueberries, rich in antioxidants, complex in flavor. It requires cross-pollination, but once established, it becomes one of the most reliable producers in cold regions. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions, it adapts. And that is the common thread through all of this. Because what you've just seen isn't just a list of trees, it's a glimpse into a different way of thinking, a way that values resilience over perfection, longevity over speed, adaptation over control. These trees were not designed for convenience, they were shaped by survival. And in a world that is becoming increasingly unpredictable, that matters more than ever. Because while modern systems